Welcome to the Tap 2 podcast. I'm your host, Jonas, joined by the oh so brilliant, charming Stosh. Stosh, I'm in mourning.
I'm ruining the bit. Jonas, why?
Stosh, I don't know if you know this, but the Washington Wizards recently let one single player score, I think it's 83 points on us. And for those who aren't tuned into basketball, that's an insane number.
It's
And
like
I like Bam. I think Bam Adebayo, who's the guy who scored it, is a good player. Is he 83 points good? No.
it's like
And
two teams worth of
it's an insane amount of points, man. Oh my goodness. And here's the thing. I I'm just supposed to talk about sports now. You expect me to just like get excited about the dichotomy between sports fandoms and nerd fandoms and highlight athletes who are bridging the gap and explains how nerds and athletes can get into each other's interests. And all that and more is supposed to come right after Stosh cues the intro. Sports are normal. You are a normal guy. All right, we're back after the break. And after 4 different Zolofs, I am feeling incredible. Uh,
I love that in the intro it just said insert antidepressant here.
I
was
couldn't
like,
remember the name of a single antidepressant.
I was like, I feel like this is for the bit, but you okay. All right, go keep going.
Stash, I really want to know, are you a big sports guy before we get into this whole segment?
What do you classify as like big sports guy?
You know what? Maybe just, are there any teams you're a fan of? We can start on that base level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Phillies fan. Baseball is my favorite sport. It's the white guy in me.
Absolutely, say less.
I okay. I like look, if my team loses, I still got to go to work the next day. You know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not affecting my mood. There was a guy I lived with in college. If the New York Rangers lost, it was game over. Don't even fucking
Ooh,
talk to me.
ooh.
Yeah. So I'm
I,
not that guy, but like sure. Would I have rather they won? Definitely.
I am worried because the bit at the front part of the episode was only 90% a joke. I was legitimately sad that the Wizards performed so poorly recently. It really hurt my spirit.
And for the
But
fans home, Bam Adebayo plays for who? For whom?
the Miami Heat.
Okay.
Yes. The Miami Heat, which is a different basketball team. I have to remember it's very interesting. Our audience swings from people who know nothing about nerd stuff or to people who know only about nerd stuff. So we really are bridging the gap this episode.
I think that when
So
we were thinking about creating this, we were definitely like, do we go super niche with Magic the Gathering? And we were like, no, nobody else in our life cares about this as much as
it's
we do.
well, that actually was like one of the reasons we started this show is because you and I enjoyed talking about nerd stuff with each other so much. Like you were like one of the big people in my life. I was like, I would love talking about magic with him. I love talking about video games with him. These are stuff that, and definitely many of my other friends cover this. But like when we're getting into the gritty, the nitty gritty, you are the person I tend to think of and highlight in my brain in regards to nerd stuff.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Of course, but so Stosh, for a long time in American culture, there's been a major divide between, I'll call these classes the geek and the jock. If we take a look at like the media we watched when we came up, we saw some consistent themes with movies like Revenge of the Nerds, movies like The Breakfast Club, shows like Freaks and Geeks and Saved by the Bell. It showed that there was a definite stratification within these social structures. I don't know. As a kid, for me growing up, I was raised very weird. Before high school, I went to 13 different schools. So I was very good at like being a chameleon and kind of blending in and hanging out with everybody. Cause I was always, you have a little shine on you as the new kid. And everyone's like, I'm trying to get to know what he's on. So for me, it was very easy to go about it that way. But as a kid growing up, was that something that really reflected in your upbringing? That big difference between what it was to be like into comic books and into cartoons and into anime and like into sports, like with the Phillies and the Eagles and the Flyers and insert fourth Philadelphia team. You know what I mean?
I think well yeah, so not to brag, I've kind of played both sides, right? I was very
Okay.
much
He's
I
biflexual.
I'm bisexual. I I I was very much into that stuff. Like watched anime, played video games, just was invested in that type of stuff. But where I was from, that was a minority. Like most people played
Mm.
sports. Most people like I don't know. Like yeah, Call of Duty was maybe like the universal game that everybody played, but for me, I was into that stuff and then I also played sports. So I kind of got
Mm.
best of both worlds. I will tell you, I fucked with the kids who watched anime so much more than the kids who played sports. And that's true for my entire life, but
This is gonna sound crazy. I loved the kids who watched anime, of course. I was a big, anime head, big sports head, whatever. The problem was there was always this antisocial energy that I felt they needed to put on. And maybe it's like a self-protective thing, like especially when you're in a niche community, it's very easy to be guarded. But it definitely felt like I was kept out of a lot of those spaces. Whereas when we were talking about stuff like sports, it would be very easy for me to be entered into a lot of those spaces because people would be like, yeah, man, you don't have to know much about basketball. You just know one guy. And you're like, I love John Wall. And people are like, hell yeah, you do. You're my GOAT. And
yeah.
it was very easy to make friends that way. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably also discussing racial dynamics.
Yeah.
I
What do you
the
mean? People just assumed you were good at sports. I don't.
Yeah, don't worry, I was a big round kid with glasses. No one was assuming anything about my sports.
So can I smack a
Um,
picture of that right here in this thing?
oh yeah, go ahead and put me dressed up as like a My Chemical Romance ass kid on the bus right here.
I'll
That's
throw
for the
one
hey,
up to me with a mirror pic like this.
ooh, yes, please. That's why you watch the YouTube, folks.
Yeah.
Um, But while that might have been something that was kind of, ever present when we were growing up, I think with the popularization of stuff like comic book movies and fantasy, those subcultures became way more normalized and a part of the general monocultures. I mean, things like Game of Thrones, Avengers, Stranger Things, those all became parts of the zeitgeist. Nowadays, there's no real opposition between the classic sporty jock archetype and the nerd archetype, especially when you become an adult, as those things, really don't exist. I
Yeah.
feel like nowadays, as a grown ass man, no one's going to be like, You like this? What the hell?"
Yeah.
It's become so much more common. I had a friend over the other day, and uh, don't you giggle and chuckle now.
This is a new type of podcast.
And I'm gonna use they, were remarking because I have a lot of books on my shelf, and they noticed some of my books were D&D books, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't know you were into D&D and stuff like that." And I'm like, yes, I am. Big nerd head over here. And it's so interesting because it isn't as apparent with people nowadays that you're into those kind of things. I mean, for all my friends and everyone who's even had a passing glance at me, it's very apparent of what I'm into. But generally, you'd be surprised about the people who are into nerdy type things. Uh,
I'll never
and
forget when I was a
mhm,
kid. This kid who he definitely like the ringleader of like the cool kids. Like was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the kid everybody like kind of like knew what I don't know was in charge if that's
I
like the
get
way to
you.
put it.
Sometimes a kid has aura. Like
Yeah,
sometimes a
yeah.
kid's just got the vibe.
I remember finding out that he liked epic rap battles of history.
Oh no.
Do you obviously you know ERB. You know about
Of
that
course.
life. I remember being like,
Spartans, let's start this. You know, I know a couple bars.
I mean, when I found that out, I almost like sort of, I kind of like didn't want to out him as if like, he came out to me. He was like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like I fuck with Dr. Seuss versus uh fucking bait whatever the one was. And I was
Fake
like, oh,
fan, fake
I was
fan.
like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's yeah, me too, bro, me too. Do you like the one? And then I would like try to get like more specific with
Hmm.
him and see if he like sort of and it was not something we discussed openly, only behind
It
closed doors.
Well, it was very interesting because growing up for me, and I think a lot of people in our generation, it a lot of anime and stuff like that was kind of commonplace. Kids in my neighborhood were watching tons of Dragon Ball Z. That was like really huge for some reason. Uh, like anytime we saw a huge guy, we would say brolic, like which is a reference to like I thought that was a real word for so like long in my life. I found out it's a reference to Brawly, the
Is it?
guy. I'm pretty sure Brolic comes from. I'm like, let me triple check.
That can't be true.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
Because if
Give
you
me a
have a
second.
brawlic figure, you are big, like you are
Yeah.
stocky, right? If it's a
Yes. Yes.
reference
Yes.
to Brawly from Dragon Ball, I'm gonna freak the fuck out because that can't be true.
I wait. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. Yes. 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 For those unaware, Brawlic is a slang term for buff and chiseled. This comes from AAVE, which is like African American Vernacular English. If you do a simple search on the origins of the term, almost everybody will say it came from Brawly, who may very well be the most brawlic guy ever. So
I was gonna say they probably named Brawly after him.
no,
No.
no, the Brawlick came from Brawly. That's and that's like a classic slang term. It's a very well used slang term. That kind of shows you how like how hard we fuck with Brawly. How hard we fuck with
Yeah, I
Dragon
mean
Ball
he's
Z.
one of the coolest, easily one of the coolest in Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm more of a if we're talking, I'm more of a Goku guy. I'm a Goku and Vegeta stan. Those are the two. And I know that's like being like I like vanilla ice cream, but
Yeah, okay.
it's good.
You're like, Mystic
Um,
Gohan was cool as hell. Yeah, bro, we get it.
yeah. All of this is really to say that nowadays there's no real opposition between like the classic sporty jock and the classic nerd. Especially like, we're adults now. This was really long-winded, but I brought this whole entire route to make this statement. Stash, I need you to look directly into the camera and get serious because this is our mission statement. And I need you to back me on this, okay?
Okay, I'm locked in.
You do not have an excuse to pretend to know nothing about sports anymore. You don't get to say touchdowns when watching baseball. You don't get to say you don't get to say where's the quarterback when you're watching basketball. You don't get to say shoot some hoops when you're watching soccer. Sports are normal. You are a normal guy. We have to stop ostracizing ourselves because of these preconceived notions, all right? You can be a nerd and like sports. It's okay.
You're forgetting the
Oh,
best one. Go Sportsball.
I oh my god, I hate Ghost Sport. We named this episode Sports Ball is Over because of how much I hate the term sports ball. Oh, it is it stops you run in like a bunch of nerd circles. Do you run into a lot of these like, go sports ball type people?
I
Because
genuinely like
ooh,
one. And I'm thinking of someone
really?
very specific. And if she's listening to the episode, know that I love you with all my heart. But god damn, that shit's over. You are
We're,
done.
we're done. Unfortunately, I love my friends to death. I love my nerdy friends. We play D&D once a week. Um, and there are a few of them who do drop a sports ball, or anytime I'm talking about a sport, their eyes glaze over. And maybe, and I understand it's not the forum for me to bring that up in discussion, but I'll be like, oh yeah, I went to the basketball game the other day. It was really fun. And they were like, "Oh, who did the Commanders play?" And I'm like, "I know you fucking know who it is.
Yeah.
Stop." Also, we're nerds. Our team is called the Wizards. You have to know who they are. As a person who loves D&D and Magic the Gathering, my favorite teams being known as the Wizards and the Commanders go so hard.
That's
It's like
awesome.
it fuels me.
It fit. It's also on the other side, right? My D&D campaign, they invented baseball in the world of the Forgotten Realms, except
So
it's
gas.
called trash ball. They call it trash ball.
I want a Dominican orc to show him how it's really done. I want
Hola, my
I
name
want
is
a fucking.
Bad Bunny. It's just,
He's Puerto Rican.
fuck, I'm done.
Uh,
I'm
uh,
done. Cancel. I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked.
Get his ass. Oh my goodness. But
Dominican
no,
orc.
these cultures are like truly starting to blend at this point. And I want to highlight that if you don't think you can be into both at the same time, one, you're wrong. And two, tons of really popular athletes right now are into both. Stash, I don't know if you've been on the internet recently, but if you have, who would you say is right now the most popping female athlete of the moment? Do you
Oh,
have an idea of what I'm getting at right now?
I think you're talking about Alyssa Liu, right?
I am talking about Alyssa Liu.
Hell yeah.
Alyssa Liu, and especially Amber Glenn, two Olympic gold medalists, are huge Magic the Gathering heads. Amber Glenn spent like recently hundreds of dollars on opening packs, which I'm like, girl, you ain't special. I also waste money.
Yeah. You just got it like that.
You just got, yeah, you might just got it more than me. Um, but I mean, if we're talking big winners from this year, we also need to talk about the Seahawks. Leonard Williams for the Seahawks is also a huge Magic the Gathering head. He was on Commander at Home, Tolarian Community College, and Stosh, I want you to guess how much money. It's lower than you think. How much money he spent on his most expensive deck?
Can I have the? No, I'll just guess.
Do you
I'm
want to know
gonna.
the kind of deck? I can tell you the kind of deck.
Okay, tell me the archetype.
I can tell you the archetype. The archetype is, oh my god, I'm such a fake fan. Big color Phyrexians. I was trying to remember what the big colorless, like horrific monsters are called.
Oh, Eldrazi.
Eldrazi, that's what it is. Yeah, it's a huge Eldrazi deck.
Okay, that kind of jumps the number in my head. I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
$5,000.
I was throwing you off by it's less than you think. I believe it's upwards between $100,000 and $50,000. He's
What
spent an
the fuck
insane
is in
amount.
that deck? What the fuck
He
is in that
spent.
deck? Is it a
He
bling
spent.
deck? Like
He spent. Let me see.
that's
Leonard
wild.
Leonard Williams MTG Eldrazi.
Well, while you're doing that, Jonas, I wanted to just go back to what you were saying before, like
Mm-hmm.
about existing in two worlds. As we both know, guys who are into sports or people who are into sports are some of the biggest nerds in the world. Like
Oh,
knowing I got a guy I play on a baseball team, the guy who runs the team, if you give him the year, he will tell you the game breakdown of who won the World Series that year. Like
yeah, without a doubt. It is. No one loves stats and numbers. There's two human beings who love stats and numbers the most. It's every single person who's ever sat at a D&D table and every single person who's ever sat in baseball stands. Dudes will go to stands with their own empty
and
spreadsheets
keep
and
score.
fill them out. You're keeping they big dog, they keep score for you. You don't need to do it, boss. They got it on the screen. I, I just and it's so crazy to not see the overlap in things that are so clearly interconnected, right? The love for the storylines that both of these different mediums create, the love for these um the numbers and the statistical observation and keeping track of the changes and trying to predict changes. That's so fucking sports and so fucking nerdy.
Look,
Oh,
I buy packs. You bet on FanDuel. We are the same guy.
We are the same guy. And here's the thing. One of these things is not better than the other. Because you're using your more fantastical imagination when you're playing tabletop role-playing games, or when you're reading Lord of the Rings, or when you're watching Star Trek, that doesn't make you better or worse than people who are watching other dudes play sports, or other ladies. We love female sports around here. I'm a big fan of women's soccer. My friend Natalie got me kind of into it. It's kind of gas.
I
Um,
I wanted to just say something to that as well.
Hit me.
I think you talked about like the friends you grew up with constantly having like a guard up, if you will,
Mhm.
because they were like almost like standoffish or antisocial to letting someone who maybe was perceived different or maybe was perceived as more of a jock into their group.
Mhm.
I would, this is just my theory, but I would say that probably a lot of it has to do with like connotation and stereotypes, right?
Mm.
There's the stereotype of jocks, especially when you were younger, who like brutish and maybe like a little bit of an asshole. But like one thing nerds can't do, or one thing like the stereotype of nerds can't do, is point fingers, because sometimes we got worse connotations, right? You
Oh yeah, for sure.
In this day and age, you can still sit next to someone at a magic table who just doesn't, let's call it, care about personal hygiene as much,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
How is
Yeah,
that any
yeah.
better than, like, I mean, anyway, that's my rant about it.
No, absolutely. And especially I've heard from a lot of my friends who are women in these like very nerdy spaces that a lot of times they will feel very uncomfortable in these spaces because people are like so socially awkward, or makes it really hard to communicate. And those are all stigma that we're trying to battle as well.
Yeah.
It's about understanding. And I think that's one of the big reasons I get really upset about the sports ball thing, is because we are setting up and feeding into a stigma that nerds can't participate in normal society. And it feels like such a wah wah crybaby thing for me to be here complaining. But like, just be normal. We're all normal.
Right,
Everyone's a
yeah.
normal guy.
Yeah, just be a normal person who's kind and like what you like and don't yuck somebody's yum. That's really
Hmm.
all it takes.
Yes, and I think the reason that's also, this is very important, is because now we've reached a point where a lot of people are stopping yucking the yum of nerds, and so now nerds, and I'm nerd camp. I'm that guy. We have to stop yucking the yums of sports ball fans. Okay,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to, and I mean,
Except Lorcana. I'm not on that train yet. I'm not on that train yet.
I don't understand. I can't understand Lorcana, you can't make me. You can't make me understand a Disney playing card game. And I get it. All of it is children's games. But man, I don't understand.
It's
But speaking of, I also, before we get too far away, we were talking about Leonard Williams, who I think the number I'm seeing so far is upwards. It's at least above 50K. He has stuff like a serialized One Ring, which is, if you know, a $13,000 card by itself, and he's playing with it, which is so sick. Actually taking it to an LGS and sitting down and playing with a deck that's more than my like yearly salary is crazy. A a 6-digit deck is disgusting.
Yeah,
Um,
to then lose to like the budget
yeah.
spell
Oh
slinger deck,
yeah.
like
Yeah. Everyone's big and bad until Paco pulls up. Um, that's a fun dog card. Not important. But I also wanted to, since we're talking NFL, and we're talking defense, I the nicest guy in the NFL, famous for being super chill, being great at his job, Mr. Miles Garrett. I was talking to a friend earlier today, and I thank God Miles Garrett is on the Browns, because his life is actually too sick. If he played for a team that was good, it would be a problem. He's cursed to live in Cleveland, because you don't get to be incredible at football, get an insane amount of sacks every year, date Chloe Kim, be handsome and famously nice and kind, and love D&D. He plays a dragonborn samurai named Zax, who, in his words, gets sacks and breaks backs.
That's
That's sick.
fucking go. That's actually
That's sick as
so
hell.
sick. And for the listener at home who is coming around on the sports ball thing, why don't you give
Mhm.
us a little background of who you're talking about, just so they know? This is
Give me one
just a
moment.
secret way for me to also know who you're talking about.
Oh my goodness. Yes, defensive end Miles Garrett. Yeah,
Okay.
Cleveland Browns defensive end Miles Garrett is incredible. He gets I want to say he averages is he averaging a sack per game? He essentially averages a sack per game played in his career. And I know for people who don't watch football, you're thinking that's all right, cool. He gets a sack. He tackles the quarterback. No, that's insane. He's a dog.
Yeah,
Miles
yeah.
Garrett is a monster, and I love him. He's so strong and so chill.
And he plays
Um,
D&D.
and he
See,
plays D&D, which
there's
makes him well.
collaboration.
Well, despite Cleveland being a cesspool and hellhole, despite it being a literal level of Avernus, um, there there are a lot of
Fucking
people on the Browns who,
Cleveland's caught in the crossfire, but you're like,
man, fuck
fuck
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
What we said last time, fuck train. I love trains actually. Oh, I couldn't even joke about saying, but man, fuck Cleveland though. Anyway, but yeah, no, if we're talking about the Browns, a lot of the players on the Browns, like Wyatt Teller and Johnny Stanton, are huge D&D heads. They played a whole campaign together as like members of this team. It's insane. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Uh, and I feel like I should mention this as well. Video games. So many players in so many different sports are obsessed with video games. I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Can you name, I believe, 5 teams had to officially ban this game from their clubhouse? Can you guess what game I am referring to? This is 5 different baseball teams who had to ban this video game from their clubhouse. Can you guess what game I'm talking about? It's a game that got so popular between baseball players that they had to put an end to it so that they could continue playing baseball.
I am going to base my guess on the sheer fact that Bryce Harper streamed it himself. Fortnite Battle Royale.
It is Fortnite Battle Royale. 5 teams, including the Boston Red Sox, had to ban Fortnite completely from their clubhouses because it was taking over the lives of their members.
So funny. That's so funny.
They just like us.
They
That's what I'm
really,
saying.
yeah.
It is. I mean, people who are not like us are Gordon Hayward, because Gordon Hayward is a basketball player. He was a Celtic, really cool dude. Kind of looks like Macklemore. Gordon Hayward was into League of Legends, and for those who don't know, that's a evil game only enjoyed by evil people. And I
Yeah.
will yuck the yum of anyone who plays League of
Yeah.
Legends.
So what I'm learning is don't yuck anybody's yum unless they fully deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless they live in Cleveland or play League of Legends.
And if you're both, God fucking help you. God help you.
For and this is not, maybe this is coloring my opinion on Ohio, but for some reason, my first 2 people I ever dated were both from Ohio. And I don't know what that says about me.
No
I don't know
bias.
what
No
I fell
bias.
into. No bias. But yeah, all of that is to say that it is not strange to be into both of these mediums. And you should be into both of these mediums because sports breeds connection, especially for those people who you feel as if you have kind of nothing to talk about with. I know I've been to many a Thanksgiving where an uncle was going on about something that I just, oh my God, I couldn't care about. Maybe Dow Jones, or maybe he's
Who's
talking
he play
about.
for?
I had an uncle one time talk to me about um different denim thread counts, and I'm like, man, you can't care about this. And I have so many uncles, and I was like, this can't be a real thing, man. You know what a lot of uncles do care about? Sports.
Probably
If
a
you
little
want,
too much, to be honest.
yeah, but that's great. If you want to connect with them and if you want to see some sparks light up in their eyes, talk with them a little bit about like their favorite teams. It will bring them joy and it will get you out of an awkward situation. Or maybe you're stuck at a water cooler with your coworker and Jeff really has not a lot going on. He's got just a nothing personality. Because here's the thing, it doesn't matter if you have a nothing personality, everyone has a hobby, and odds on favorite, he might like sports.
It's
So
also just ask him about the heyday, you know? Because
yeah,
like
oh my god.
every guy the same exact
Hmm.
way nerds will sit there and be like, oh, Magic used to be better, like we talked about in
Yep.
the, you know?
Final Fantasy 7 is so much better than Final Fantasy 12 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, oh wow, the Falcons used to be a lot better when that. Like, you know,
Hmm.
it's the same thing. It all connects.
I'm not immune to it. If someone asks me about Gilbert Arenas, I'll tell them. I'll tell them he was a real Gilbert Arenas was a real shooter. Wink. And that's for the that's for the real ball knowers. That's for the urologists in chat.
Oh,
They're
he
gonna
know
love that
balls.
joke. He know balls. So we talked a lot about like why you should get into sports. What's what do you gain from doing so? I think we should give actual helpful ways to get into them.
Let me
That's my opinion at
let me
least.
hear it. Let me hear it.
Okay. Number one, consume interesting sports media. Stuff like documentaries, ESPN's 30 for 30 series. I watched it so much as a kid, and I still find them fascinating. They create these stories based on different athletes and these different moments, and it's just so riveting to watch. Drive to Survive got a whole group of people into Formula One, and they're doing
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, they do stuff like that for the NFL, for the NBA, where they'll make these documentary series that make it so digestible and easy to connect with these players as characters. It's fascinating.
One of
So
the
I think that's a
best
really. Oh,
documentaries
go ahead.
ever. One of the best documentaries I've ever watched, and I cannot remember what it's called. It's something on and off the court about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson
Oh yeah,
and
the
their rivalry.
vicious rivalry.
Like one of the best, like if you're not, even if you're not a fan of sports, if you're a fan of drama and the clash and
Yeah.
classism, East Coast versus West Coast, it's one of the best documentaries in the world. And it made me look further into like basketball is probably the sport I know the least about, but it made me look further into Larry Bird and like just like any other quirked up white boy, I fucking love Larry Bird, you know?
Yeah, you're a white boy at a frat party. Get him a bird jersey.
Get me a
I
fucking Bird.
And once again, Magic Johnson, cool ass name. What a fucking sick nickname. I've never heard a nickname cooler than Magic Johnson. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
he's so swaggy.
All right, what's the
Another
next way?
great
What's the
way,
next way?
another great way to get into sports is to go out and play some sports. This is a bit harder, but look into joining pickup games and intramural teams. When you play a sport, you tend to feel a much deeper connection to what it takes to be actually quite good at it. You're going to be bad at first, but trust me, it's a great way to get active, a great way to meet new people, and a great way to engage in something that you wouldn't have engaged in before. I personally love games of pickup basketball. It's so easy to just get pulled onto a team. And people, here's the thing, even when you're ass, people are low key chill about it. And if you don't take a lot of shots, they'll be like, okay, defense. Okay, he's holding it down. Oh, he's lockdown time. I am not lockdown time. I am getting nothing but cardio out there. I'm doing nothing but steps. But people are mad chill about it.
Yeah.
And my final, my final way of getting into sports, and I think this is the thing we're going to have to talk about the most. The number one way, in my opinion, if you're not into sports to get into it, is to just pick a team.
Yeah.
Stosh, how do you think people should go about picking a team? Do you have any like criteria or advice for people who don't have a team and want to find one?
If you are flat out not interested in sports at all, just pick the one that has the coolest color scheme. Or
Okay.
well, are you saying for somebody who's never liked sports and just wants to support one?
Or I would, yeah, let's go from there. Just like a blank slate. Why not? That sounds good.
Okay, well, sure. Let's say you're really into sharks. Guess what? The San Jose Sharks are your team. You know?
Absolutely. I know one guy who is listening to this podcast right now who just lost his mind at the mention of the San Jose Sharks.
And with the expansion, right? Like what, 2-3 years ago, they introduced the Seattle Kraken to the NHL. They
Well,
didn't
that's
have
so
a
sick.
fan base. You could be part of the day one fan base in the
That's
year
great.
2020, in the decade of 2020. Like
You're in the buy-in. This is the time. And okay, there is one more technique you can use to get into sports, and one more way to pick a team. And this is my personal favorite way to pick a team. Figure out what your friends are into. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your friends, and either pick that same team, which is great camaraderie, or pick the rival team. There's something so absolutely like enriching about rooting against your friend's team.
yep,
Oh my
yep.
goodness. Oh, my friend loves the Bills, and there is no better feeling than watching the Bills lose now. I fucking hate those guys. I hate Josh Allen so fucking much. Oh.
Well, this is a side note. The way the league glazes Josh Allen when
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts is a
Mm-hmm.
better fucking quarterback and a
Mm-hmm.
better person.
Talk to him. Talk to him,
Don't.
Philly. Talk to him.
My man, first of all, he squats like a god. Second of all, he's
Also,
always looking fly as hell.
I was gonna say, have you seen his smile?
He's got
Jalen Hurts makes
a
me feel
million
good.
dollars. Yeah, fuck.
Oh,
God, I hate Josh
oh.
Allen.
And here's and you almost had me though. You almost had me saying nice things about a player for the Eagles. And the DC native in me will never do that, but it was really, really tricky of you. You almost got
I'm
it
gonna
past
scroll
me.
back in our messages and find when you were like, "Man, fuck you! Oh, my quarterback's a good guy and he's got good values and he's handsome. Fuck you, man."
So, first of all, and here's the thing: this energy right now between me and Stosh is because our teams historically are rivals,
Uh
right?
huh.
There are teams that beef with each other, and it creates a fun dynamic where we are talking shit back and forth, rooting against each other. We have odds and stakes in these games because of the teams we're rooting for. And here's the thing: we nerds as a people love buying into things. We love rooting for underdogs. We love following great stories, and sports is full of them. So if you're on the fence, if you're thinking, sports aren't really my thing, maybe give it another shot. Trust me, I think you will actually like it more than you think.
And the camaraderie is even better because I know this back and forth between me and Jonas never
Mhm.
has to mean anything because the Commanders will always suck, and that feels
Whoa!
good.
Oh! 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 Go,
I mean,
go, go.
they had a
Mm.
generational run in them, and it was just squandered. And I can't imagine what Jonas is going through every season.
Man, I'm a Wizards fan and a Commanders fan. Can you just be nice to me? Can you
I mean, the
just be
best thing to
kind?
come out of John Wall was his high school mixtape. So
You son of a- it is gas. All right, I better not catch you doing the John Wall ever. If I ever catch you doing the John Wall, you better not even Dougie. All right, it's over for you.
I was gonna say, hit the.
Talk to him, Stosh. Anyway, that's it for our segment. I hope if you guys are super into sports, or if some of our sports fans go, hey, I haven't really been into all that nerd shit. Maybe you see the similarities from the other side of the aisle. If so, try it out. You know, stretch on over. The water's nice on both ends. Trust me.
Hell yeah.
Also, Stosh, after an incredible segment where we're talking about bringing people together, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about if you could bring anyone together, who would it be? Stosh, that is correct. I am asking you to build your dream blunt object rotation. And I say blunt objects such as dice because we will be rolling dice at our Dream D&D session.
Okay.
Josh, I have some questions I'm going to ask you, and I will also be giving my answers as well.
Okay.
Josh, if you got to run a session, who is your dream DM?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It's a basic answer. I gotta go Brennan Lee Mulligan. No, wait, hold on. Yes, I want Brennan Lee Mulligan as my DM, and I'll explain why in a moment.
Okay. And I really respect that answer. I think that's a pretty solid answer. I'm going to go in a different direction.
Okay.
For my DM, I would like Willem Dafoe.
Oh, we're picking non-DMs?
I never said he has to play D&D.
Well, that changes things.
I think Willem Dafoe would bring a lot of gravitas to any situation, and I think the energy can flip crazy style. It's between Willem Dafoe and Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard also loves D&D, plays the game at a certain level. I think he knows the rules, can do incredible different voice work, and would bring such a hectic energy, and he runs his own table already. I think my answer actually is Matthew Lillard.
That is actually a great pull. Wow, I don't even know. There's so many people to choose from.
I know.
No, I'm going to stick with Brennan Lee Mulligan because I love his work and I think he knows how to make capitalism the bad guy in the best way possible.
That's a great pick. All right. Next up, we have who is playing the healer at your table? Who is bringing in support and good vibes, keeping the energy up? Who do you want being your party's healer?
Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien.
Okay. Real funny guy.
I'm going off. There is no other reason other than fucking vibes. Like, we are going to laugh that whole time. And when the healer whose job it is to make sure everybody stays alive, I'm imagining that just being hysterical. Okay, Conan O'Brien.
I think he would do an incredible job. I really like that answer quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm picking socialist it girlies Zoran Mamdani.
That's a fucking awesome answer.
Yeah, he's playing City Domain Cleric. He's healing everyone around. He's the fucking Vox Populi, the voice of the people. I think he would be, and also the vibes would be perfect. Already, the vibes at this table are going so gas.
I love that.
Okay, now I have to ask. Ready?
Yes.
An important part of every D&D table is the person who's bringing the snacks. Who is providing you with delicious eats on this incredible night?
Gordon Ramsay.
Ooh,
and I will name a woman eventually when you fit the profile. I grew up watching MasterChef, and I like to dabble in cooking. I wouldn't say too much, but if I am devoting 4 hours to sit at a table and want something delicious, my man's cooking up the best snacks, like hors d'oeuvres, and the best entree you've ever had in your whole life.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. It would be so freaking delicious. Oh, God, now I have to think who do I really want throwing down? There's an easy answer that comes to my mind. If I want to think about people who are, there's an easy answer, but if he was alive, it would be Anthony Bourdain, because I think he would really get into the game.
Answer.
He would be have so much fun. I could definitely see him buying into it too. He'd be like, today I'm playing a goblin named Ginzo. Ginzo loves to grab a knife and he loves to chop it up. And I'm like, hell yeah, you are, man. I love that for you. But if we are picking someone who I have seen have these incredible conversations, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, he recently had a conversation with Matthew Lillard. I've been watching so much of the Mythical Kitchen series with Chef Josh.
I was going to say that, dude. I swear to God, I was going to say that.
He's got such a good vibe. Also, another person who I think would get really into the game. I think that would be a really fun time.
Yeah, that's a great pull. If I didn't go Gordon, I
Okay.
was gonna say him.
Okay. Now, this is another incredibly important job. And I think this is a job that gets overlooked at a lot of D&D tables. Who do you have on the aux for the session? Who is picking the correct vibe of music throughout the entire night?
How many more do we have left? Because
I
this is
think
good.
we have like 2 left after this.
Okay. Simply because she's my celebrity crush, and I think she would
Okay.
kill it. Aubrey Plaza.
Ooh. Ooh, you think Aubrey Plaza's bag is deep?
I think when it comes to cultivating a vibe, her
Okay.
personality is very good for that. Runner up, if I may.
You may.
Dawn Evans from Hot Ones.
Come on.
yeah.
Hell
Again,
yes.
I'm going off vibes. I don't know what his fucking music taste is, but now,
no.
we're
Fuck
conversing.
that, yeah.
Now we're conversing. Now we're
You're getting
laughing. The DM's
getting
getting
the
pissed.
energy up. Okay, I'm fucking with it heavy. Okay. I personally, for me, the aux is such a sacred place. Like,
Do you listen to
trying
music
to
while you play D&D?
we listen to we'll put on like soundtracks. So we'll put on like
Yeah.
stuff like Hollow Knight soundtrack. We'll put on like classical music.
Yeah.
A compliment that one of my favorite compliments that I've ever received while DMing is someone said, every time there's a track on, it feels like it was designed to be played while you are speaking. It feels like someone orchestrated it for the
Yeah.
villain monologue or the action that you're
Yep.
directing. It feels really good to take place in it.
Or the way a narrative beat ends with a song,
Yeah.
just like, and your players are like, "Whoa, did you do that on purpose?" And you're like,
And I'm like,
"Yeah."
yeah, totally. I definitely did. This is going to be hard. You know who I'm picking? And because I think she would also be a really great vibe at the table. Can I get Sabrina Carpenter on Ox?
Okay, girly
I
pop,
think
yeah.
girly pop. And I think here's the thing. I was between her, speaking of girly pops, I was thinking between her and like Billie Eilish, because I think both of them, one, they're deep in the music scene. They know sounds, they know how to cultivate a vibe. But I went with Sabrina because I think she would just be fun to have around. I think she would actually just kind of be a blast.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. I see the buy-in.
Okay, and that second to last, I have to ask, what athlete would you want playing at your table? He is going to be a DPS. They're dealing out tons of damage. They're taking care of bosses. They are like the strike force commander who is leading your team into victory. Who is your captain of your ship? What athlete do you want at your table?
What direction do you go with this? Do you go with a goat? Do you go with someone who you just feel like would have a good vibe? Can I hear yours
Yeah.
first?
As my DPS, my athlete, I'm going to cheat off my own paper, and I'm going Miles Garrett. Get in here.
Yeah.
Let's sack the competition. Let's get some good energy in.
Oh man, I genuinely don't even know. I'm gonna go just sorely because he's probably one of the best basketball players in the league right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm so glad you didn't say Bam. I actually would have thrown it. I would have if you said Bam Adebayo, I would have. There's some bad things would have happened.
Yeah, no, the only reason I'm picking him is because when I was in college, my friends and I would play 2K. 2K was not a sport I was good at. 2K, for anybody who doesn't know, is a basketball game. I would play against them, and they would pick anybody. They would pick we would do randoms, like, 3 trigger randoms, right?
Yeah, random suicide.
I would only ever come close to beating them if I played as the Milwaukee Bucks. And Giannis would have 65 in a game.
Jesus Christ.
I was bad at the game, and I can admit that. But I got close. I got
Mhm.
close. If you're listening to this and you've made it this far, please let us know who your DBR D&D campaign table would be. We should have said it at the top of the episode, but please go give us a listen on either Spotify or YouTube. Go like, rate, subscribe, interact, whatever. Follow the Instagram. It helps the show. And Jonas, any final words before we log off?
You know what? I consider this whole episode one big touchdown.
Sportsball is over.